Okay, so I'm Rob Scriven. I started in the property business in 2004. Up until now, I've been involved in residential property. It's been a mixture of mainly single lets and HMOs, mainly houses rather than flats. Over the last 12 months or so, I've started to reevaluate where we're at with residential property. And look at building my portfolio in other ways, including looking at commercial property as well. So that's kind of where I'm up to at the moment. My last contracting job was working in the city as an IT contractor, and I finished that in September 2017. Shortly after that, I had some family issues, and for probably 6 to 9 months after that, it kind of knocked me sideways, and I didn't do very much at all business-wise. But I really started to concentrate back on my property journey around about April or May of 2018, which is when I joined Glenn's Private Clients. Mentorship program in, I think, about October 2016. So I was on that for 12 months, and then was looking at what I should do when that came to an end, whether to resubscribe to the mentorship or join the partnership program. And it was shortly after that I spoke to Glenn about joining the private clients program. So what did I get out of the mentorship program? Mainly it was looking at different strategies and learning a lot of different strategies. So prior to joining the mentorship program, I'd been what you might call a traditional investor, where I bought properties where I had put in, a 20% deposit out of my own money. I'd got a mortgage on that property and then rented it out either as a single let or an HMO. So joining the mentorship program made me look at a much wider variety of strategies that I could use for my property journey, whether that was things like delayed completions or lease options or whatever it happened to be. Part of the mentorship program is the monthly mentorship meetings, which are on a Saturday each month, and they're a mixture of networking with other property investors, having specific talks from property experts, and I learned a huge amount from some of those experts who had been on different journeys and had used different strategies. The actual weekly webinars, which are on a Tuesday morning, they were a way of actually cementing some of that knowledge that we'd learned through the monthly mastermind meetings, and learning some of the challenges that some of the other investors were having in terms of trying to actually find deals, making those deals stack up. And it was a way of kind of having a forum with Glenn on the phone where you could put your questions to him or whatever problems you might have had in terms of actually trying to get these deals done. And it was a very creative way of actually discussing ways forward with some of these deals. So as part of the mentorship program, as I was saying, there's a lot of networking that goes on, and what you find is that you meet a huge amount of people who come from all sorts of different backgrounds. So for example, I worked in the city as an IT contractor, but also I've met accountants and solicitors and people from all kinds of backgrounds. Quite a number of people who've come from the building trade as well, such as electrical contractors and plasterers and all sorts of people. So it's interesting that we all come from a different place, but we're all kind of on the same journey to learn about how to make money out of property. So it doesn't necessarily mean to say that you have to have a building background to get into the property business. Like myself, you could come from an IT contracting background, or whatever. It really doesn't matter. So I think if you're thinking about starting your journey by going on Glenn's 4-day course, don't hesitate at all in doing that, because you're not going to learn everything there ever is to learn about property, but what it'll do is it'll give you an overview of all the different strategies that we discussed within the mentorship program and the partnership program, and it starts to get your mind to think about all the different ways that you could be involved in property, whether you want to go into development or you want to do rent-to-rent or serviced accommodation or HMOs. So you'll learn the basics of all of these different strategies and the kind of properties that you want to be looking for, and how you can actually build a business around a particular strategy. So again, it might depend on your background in terms of your own financial situation. We're not all sitting there with a huge pot of money in the bank to start with, so there might be different strategies that you can start off with little or no money at all. Or you might have a little nest egg that you think that you could actually go into a bigger deal to start with, maybe even find a joint venture partner as well. So it's really an essential start of your property journey to learn all of these different strategies. And then from there, obviously, you can take it a step further if you decide to go into the mentorship program, and that's where you get a much more intensive handhold, help from both Glenn and the rest of the team, and the whole networking that goes around that. It's all a step-by-step journey along the way. So I joined the private client program back in April of 2018, and since joining that, I've become a lot more. I've played some golf with Glenn, but it's not just about that. Although it's part of the whole thing. It's in terms of not just learning about property, but learning about personal development, networking as well. I've had the chance to go down and play at Woburn with Glenn, which is great, and we've had some quite intense one-to-one discussions on the golf course. They always say, do your business on the golf course. But joking apart, it's opened up my mind further to where I intend to go with my property journey, which has led me to look outside of just residential property, more into commercial property and also development areas as well. So what's actually happened over the last few months is that I've started to look at I've actually taken one of the basic strategies from residential, which is the rent-to-rent idea, and also HMOs. In fact, two strategies that people use in residential property. What I've actually done is I've applied those to commercial property, and we're looking at a project at the moment where we're looking at doing a rent-to-rent on 10,000 square feet of commercial premises in the heart of London, which is quite a big project for me. It's way bigger than anything I've done before. But the rewards at the end of the day will also be much bigger than anything I've made out of property so far. I couldn't have come up with the idea of what I'm trying to do had I not gone through the whole journey through residential property up to date. Okay, so it's really quite an exciting time in my journey where I'm looking at moving much more into commercial, and now I've got a clear strategy of what it is we're trying to do. So watch this space. So in today's session, I sat down with Glenn and I started to talk about this particular project that I'm looking at the moment. And I've done a lot of work so far in terms of putting together cash flow figures and an investment proposal. There's a lot more to this project than some of the stuff I've done in the past. However, one of the stumbling blocks that I've encountered so far is the fact that I'm going to need quite a large lump of cash as a deposit to give to the landlord to actually get this deal across the line. In today's session, Glenn and I discussed the actual project, and he came up with a possible solution which I hadn't even thought about. It's taken my brain off, as usual, in a complete tangent in terms of restructuring my thought process in terms of how we can get this project done, particularly on a no money down basis. Now, I was looking to raise close on £500,000 to start this project off as a combination of commercial lending or asset-based lending and potentially quite a large amount of my own cash. However, in discussion with Glenn today, we've looked at a way that we could possibly structure this in such a way that we could do it as a no money down deal. And in doing so, it releases my cash. It doesn't tie up my own funds, and therefore it allows us to leverage onto another project maybe 6 or 12 months down the line. So again, it's a way of actually escalating the whole business plan much quicker and much more scalable than I'd even thought was possible. So when the deal comes off, how will I assess the amount of money I've invested with Glenn through the mentorship program and the private client program? The project that we're looking at the moment will yield a profit over an 8-year period of in excess of £2 million. With the discussion that I've had with Glenn today, we could look at repeating this within 6 to 12 months, and then again and again and again. So there's no reason at all why I can't do another 6 deals like this. That's all I need to do. I could retire then. So in terms of the amount of money I've actually invested, it is a drop in the ocean compared to the way in which it has changed my whole mindset in terms of where I intend to go and how quickly I intend to get there. That's the main thing that's come out of the discussion I've had with Glenn today. It's how quickly I can get there, because it's almost like he's put this accelerator into the mix. A catalyst, that's the word they use in chemistry. It's like a catalyst has suddenly gone into my thinking, which can just take us where I'm going that much quicker.
Okay,
I think our relationship has grown a lot in the last few months. When I first got to know Glenn, it was sitting with another 30 or 40 people in a room in the mastermind. As my journey has gone along, I've got to know Glenn personally a lot better. I'd say we are good mates now. We go and play golf together, and Glenn is a member of a fantastic golf club. So it's great to be able to say that this is more than just about business. It's about the whole of being part of a program that allows you to get to know Glenn a lot better, as well as some of the other mentees and some of the other experts that we talk to. So it's important that you have the ability to get to know Glenn and you get to know each other personally outside of just talking about business, and that helps as well in terms of mindset. I think I think I mentioned earlier on I had some family problems over the last 12 months, and just being able to talk to Glenn about some of those things as well, I think has helped me quite a bit in terms of being able to continue to focus on my business, while still, being able to talk about personal things outside of business as well. So it's an important part of the whole program, I think. We've talked about a lot of things around this table, as well as in the mastermind and partnership days, and it expands your mind all the time. And every now and then, Glenn just comes out with something, and you think, I would never have thought of something like that. And it does take you off on another step on the journey. So I would say what we've discussed this afternoon, potentially the idea that we've discussed could be the most important 5 minutes I've had in the last 2 years together. So we will see if this deal comes off, and we can structure it in the way that we've discussed. Then it's just worth more than I can think of, really. So I think anybody who's sceptical about learning property strategies that are a little bit outside of the box, come to the 4-day to begin with an open mind. There are skeptics about, can you really do it that way? Everything that we talk about and everything that we do is all completely legal, ethical, and totally above board. And it's just a question of thinking outside of the box, and looking at ways of doing property that most people are unaware of or don't think can be done. But they really can be, and you just have to have an open mind, and believe that you can implement these strategies, because there's lots of people out there who are doing it.
Excellent, thank you.